Well, moving to France now, the country will go to the polls on April the 10th. It's the first round of the country's presidential elections, and it will determine who will run the European Union's second largest economy and its only member with a permanent UN Security Council seat. So the first question is, who will win the elections? Well, the incumbent is clearly a favourite in the opinion polls currently. President Emmanuel Macron is leading, but his projected margin of victory is narrow. He's facing stiff competition from the far right's Marine Le Pen. Even if he succeeds, a narrow win could mean trouble for Macron. It will affect his capacity to implement any new reforms in the country. Currently, the biggest issues of the polls include the war in Ukraine, France's economy, immigration policies, and the country's security. The election campaign started during the Russian invasion of Ukraine, so the polls showed an initial boost for Macron, but that has now waned. Opinion polls show purchasing power is the top concern for voters. There's a huge increase in energy prices and growing inflation. Le Pen has successfully focused her campaign on those issues. The economy remains the key focus for many French voters. Surveys show voters are unhappy with Macron's economic policies. But unemployment is at its lowest level in years. That said, though, voters don't think any of his opponents could do any better. Macron's handling of the COVID-19 pandemic could also play a huge role in this election, especially at a time when the restrictions have been largely lifted across France. The use of private consultants by the Macron government has also emerged as a surprise issue. So are there any other surprises that the world should be watching out for? Well, one is voter uncertainty. Opinion polls show many are still unsure who they'll vote for. The turnout could well be much lower than usual as well, and this is adding to more and more uncertainty in these elections. Polls have been for weeks consistently pointing to Macron leading the first round, but Le Pen is closing the gap. The far-right's Jean-Luc Mélenchon polls third, only a few points behind Le Pen. Le Pen is the most likely candidate to face Macron in the second round runoff, but even a Macron-Mélenchon matchup could be a surprise scenario. So why do the French polls matter so much? Well, Russia's invasion of Ukraine has obviously sent shockwaves throughout Europe and beyond. The winner of France's election will have to deal with that fallout. Now that Britain has left the European Union, France is the bloc's main military power. It's also the undisputed second biggest economy in the EU. Angela Merkel's exit as German Chancellor has given Macron a more prominent role in Europe. The next French president will face soaring public deficits, though, a pension system that many say needs reforming, and moves to reindustrialise France. The political landscape is still feeling the shockwaves from the 2017 polls. The reconstruction of both the right and the left will now depend on how these polls play out.